Hey friends, you are probably here because you want some help surrounding the game called Candy Crush.
Divine.
Well, first of all, let me tell you I'm not affiliated with King, the owners of the Candy Crush game. They have not asked me to create this video, nor am I using this as an endorsement for them or vice versa. However, as part of our network, we do have a channel called Jonah B,
Sugar Stars.
which one of my sons manages, and it features the games he loves. Of course, one of those games he plays a lot is Candy Crush.
Tasty.
But before I get into that, please make sure to subscribe to JB Man Cave. It's free. If you have not already done so, make sure to subscribe to Jonah B as well. There's a link in the description. First, I'm going to dive into how we got into Candy Crush, but if you just want to skip into certain things, then please check the description for a key so you can go to the section of this video that you're most interested in.
Sugar Crush.
As a father, years ago, one of the things I was trying to get my young boys to understand was sequencing, matching, and choosing the best option. While you could teach that verbally, to me there is nothing better than visuals, and if it is in the form of a game, even better. This is where King's Candy Crush came in. By default, certain phones had Candy Crush pre-installed and or made references to install it, so I did. After a few tries of Candy Crush, I thought this is easy enough and started to go up in levels quickly.
Sweet.
While playing, I realized that this could do just what I wanted. Teach my boys sequencing, matching, and choosing the best option. You see, Candy Crush started out with a game called Minus Speed,
Sugar Stars.
which had similarities to a game that has been around a while called Bejeweled. In all of those games, you have to pair up symbols or icons in the forms of gems or candy or fruit in order to score points. Sometimes if you can match up certain icons in a row, then you get bonus points. This was an excellent way to go through sequencing, matching, and choosing the best option because you had to choose in a certain order, match symbols, and sometimes if you had more than one match to make, you would have to choose the best option. It did the job well, and Jonah B was exceptionally good at it, so the Jonah B channel was born. Jonah B, through playing Candy Crush and other games, has amassed quite a following and millions of views. Many who view look for tips, and that's the purpose of this video. Now, in managing the channel, I sometimes go in there to check the comments and see many people repeating themselves over and over again. It can be as simple as help to why do you have so many moves and we do not? Here are some simple tips that may help you. One of the first things to remember is that Candy Crush is meant to be an enjoyable game, and like all games should be played with enjoyment and not anxiety. Jonah B dashes through levels like Flash, but it doesn't mean you have to. You also don't need to compete with him to ensure you are on the same level. Just go at your own pace.
Sugar Stars.
I know some of this might be things you don't want to hear, but we got to start with the root of the frustration, right? The next thing to consider is the device you are using. Early in the game, we once wrote King about why certain levels were released at different times and why some had more moves than others and so forth. The feedback we got is that the Candy Crush app works slightly differently depending on the device you are using. For instance, iPhone users may have X amount of moves, different levels or layout for a certain level than, let's say, an Android user. This is especially true if the case of Windows desktop users. If you install Candy Crush through the Windows desktop app interface, then you may be surprised to see you get more moves.
Tasty.
Now remember, this is through Windows and not installing something like BlueStacks and then emulating Candy Crush on it. That is not the same thing.
Divine.
Events which happen in-game are also a key feature to look out for in the Candy Crush game. Events usually give you rewards and bonuses that can then be used to extend gameplay, especially when you are stuck. The next thing you have to understand is that it takes a lot of patience at higher levels. Jonah B is a dedicated soldier on the game. When he encounters a difficult level, he will focus and do it over and over until he has success. Of course, on his channel, you can watch his video to look for tips of how he did it. Lastly, while it will be nice to live in a world where everything is just done out of the good nature of our heart, in reality we need to make a living. King is an online business and makes money through your in-app purchases and so forth. You can support the game creators by purchasing extra boosters, gold bars, and so forth. This helps them to create more games for you. Besides that, what do you think about Candy Crush? Feel free to comment in the comments area below of my YouTube channel, JB's Man Cave. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe here and at Jonah Beath.